Hey, welcome to A Game for Your Thoughts. Today we're talking about The Legend of Zelda. So The Legend of Zelda is the first game in the Legend of Zelda series, and the story is excruciatingly simple as it follows Link as he has to go across Hyrule, find the 8 pieces of the Triforce, and save Zelda from Ganon and save Hyrule. I love the simplicity of the Zelda story. It's great that it explains it to you in the title screen in like a single paragraph, and if you want you can go into the manual and read more about it, so I think that's great that that is there for you. Beyond the setup and the initial startup, there really is no other story in this game. The story is the adventure that you go on, which I think is incredible. It's fun that it doesn't waste your time with a lot of story. It just gets right into the adventure and just lets you have fun. It doesn't have to have so many twists and turns. It really respects your time and just gets you started and gets you playing the game, which is fantastic. It just is a really simple formula that works really, really well. You don't even start the game out with any weapons. It lets you figure that out on your own as well, but with some advice from an old man, it gets you on your adventure and just gets you on the road. The gameplay of Legend of Zelda is simplistically difficult. In idea and theory, it totally makes sense and it's super simple, but it's very difficult in actually making it happen. A lot of the monsters in the dungeons and the exploration itself is not very straightforward. You really gotta explore and figure it out on your own, and the combat is very tricky. Your goal is to explore Hyrule, find the 9 different dungeons, defeat their bosses, find the pieces of the Triforce, fight enemies, find secrets, and upgrade your character and just become the coolest adventurer of all time. Keeping your health at full and being able to shoot the awesome glowy sort of awesomeness is always so much more difficult than it sounds. You get in a room of enemies and you have max health and you're feeling very confident, but confidence is dangerous as sometimes it can easily go south very fast and you have to learn how to fend for yourself without being attacked from a range. Being able to move and find the right times to attack is the key for success in Zelda. Moving around the environment and being familiar with what types of enemies are present and where's the best places to move and best time to attack is very essential, and it's great as it's a very simple idea that is more difficult than it really sounds. This is more true than ever when you're going up against the dreaded Dark Nuts. The Dark Nuts in this game are brutal and perfect test for the player's skill. When you enter a room and see Dark Nuts, you instantly dread what you're going to have to face, but it is an awesome challenge that is very satisfying to pass. As frustrating as these guys are, the satisfaction of clearing a room is so good, and it just gives you that boost of confidence to keep going until you come across another room with more of them, and then you kind of want to cry. The variety of monsters you come across is great, as it always just keeps you on your toes and keeps you guessing of what's going to be the best and most efficient way to take care of these enemies. It's always changing and evolving with the dungeons and your explorations across Hyrule, and I think that's great. Each of the bosses at the end of the dungeons are awesome challenges, or sometimes not really. Finding secrets in this game is one of the most rewarding things ever, though they are very difficult to find because it's not the most obvious thing ever. Going around and throwing fire at every single bush in the open world is going to benefit you to some degree, but it absolutely pays off as the secrets you find are super rewarding, whether if it's a heart container, a shop with cheaper prices, or a grumpy little guy telling you it's a secret to everybody except for me because I found you. They're all rewarding things that are great, and it's just such a fun thrill of finding that secret and being like, oh, whoa, cool, it's great. Everything you find is rewarding to some capacity, and I really did appreciate that it respects you for going out of your way to find these secrets, and it is genuinely rewarding and just tons of fun. The dungeons you explore along the way are all super unique and different. Besides the different color palette and different enemies you come across, the puzzles and the situations you find yourself in are a bit more challenging, a bit more difficult the more you progress through the game. And using items and your skills you obtain along the way can certainly help along with each dungeon, and I think that's fantastic as it's a great sense of progression. It's fun getting to the end of the game and looking back at the Octoroks you had to fight at the beginning and thought those were so difficult, but now you're fighting a room full of Zols and Wizrobes and likes and anti-fairies, and it's just a total nightmare, and you kind of scoff at that old Octorok until you get killed by these Wizrobes and you just want to pull your hair out because it's so frustrating, and then you have to work your way all the way back through. It's fun stuff that it feels really great to see this sense of progression. Finding the Triforce piece at the end of each dungeon is one of the greatest feelings ever, as it gives you a good sigh of relief and just know that you're one step closer to completing the adventure. And it just is so thrilling finding each one, as it just is a fun new challenge within each itself. On the technical end, this is a very awesome game. It plays very nice and is widely accessible. It is available on so many different platforms, and I actually still have my old cartridge, the golden cartridge. That is so much fun to break out every now and then and play just super classic. But playing the game on the Switch I feel like is the best way to go, as it's super accessible. You can take it wherever you want. You have save states and the rewind feature if you want. I recommend not using the rewind feature because it just kind of is a different experience, just being able to bump back every time you die. It just doesn't feel fair. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and I wouldn't blame you. The graphics are very 8-bit, but it has a nice charm to it where it doesn't really feel dated. It doesn't feel like these games are 35 years old. And it's really fun to just jump into the world of Zelda as the music kicks in, and the music is incredible. I love Koji Kondo's score for this game as it's so adventurous, and the theme for the dungeons is so spooky. It's such just an awesome tone for the overall adventure. The music is very simplistic and repetitive in nature. There's really only like 2 songs in the entire game, but it doesn't really feel like that because it's such an effective job of not getting repetitive and boring, and it never gets sick of it. It's always just feels so fun, and you just start humming along every single time you enter the overworld and the theme kicks in, and it's just so awesome. There are moments when the game will randomly slow down, and it's a very stressful moment. Though it does clear itself up in a few moments, this very rarely happen, but it is worth noting because it is a weird random technical thing that somehow made it onto the port for the Switch version that was kind of lame, that it shouldn't have been there anyways, but it's fine. It doesn't ruin the experience. It just does kind of slow things down a bit and gets a little stressful. In the end, I think The Legend of Zelda is a must-play game. It is a fantastic experience that 35 years later is still one of the greatest games of all time. I think it's simplistic story. It's simple but fun gameplay that leads to this amazing adventure that just is so much fun. The music benefits all of it by setting an incredible tone, and it's just so fun and catchy, and exploring the world and finding the secrets is so rewarding. Finding the bosses is tons of fun. Clearing the rooms of Darknuts is so rewarding. It's just such a fun experience that I absolutely think is worth playing. Finally, defeating Ganon and saving Zelda and Hyrule is one of my most favorite gaming memories of all time, and I think it's one that you have to experience for yourself. It certainly is a very old game, and it feels like that at times, and it is going to seem like a weird experience today, but I absolutely recommend going in with an open mind and just giving it a try, because it is one of my favorite games of all time, and I think The Legend of Zelda is a must-play. Hey, before you go, this is a very special video, as this is coming out on the 35th anniversary of the original Legend of Zelda game. I love this series so much and is one of my favorite gaming franchises of all time. So, to celebrate the 35th year anniversary of The Legend of Zelda, I'm going to be reviewing every Legend of Zelda game by the end of the year. So once a month I will review one game going in order of release. So that does bring some things up. Yes, I have reviewed some of the games previously before. That includes Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Link's Awakening Remake and Classic, and Majora's Mask. So I actually won't be replaying those, and I'll just kind of skip over them in order of release and play the game before and after, just kind of jumping over those, and it'll give me plenty of time to work through those. So you can go and actually go check those videos out here on my YouTube channel. That would be awesome, and I'll make a playlist with all these videos. You can watch them in order as they come out. I also did a history of video on this original Legend of Zelda game, talking about how it was made and what kind of impact it had on gaming and what legacy it holds. And I think that would be a great video to go check out. And it's not necessarily a review, so I'm counting this one as like an official review, so that's why we're here doing this now. And I think it's a great way to kick off the 35th year anniversary. So go and check out all my other Zelda videos, and keep an eye out for the 21st of every month. I'll be releasing a new Zelda review video. So, counting this video, that leaves Zelda 2, A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Minish Cap, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Skyward Sword, A Link Between Worlds, and finally Breath of the Wild. So there's lots of games to get to, so look forward to each review once a month. And I'm really excited to keep going with this. I'm so excited that Zelda is this old, that I'm hoping Nintendo does something very cool, whether it's Breath of the Wild 2, or some cool collection, or just something awesome. I'm really excited to see what this year holds for Zelda. So keep an eye out for my videos every month, and thank you guys so much for watching this video of Zelda 1. If you want to let me know down in the comments below what you think about Zelda 1, that would be fantastic. And if you want to help me out and hit like, subscribe, and the bell to get notified every time I post a new video, that would be great as well. And if you want to see more of me, I'm over on Twitch at twitch.tv/agameforyourthoughts. I'm streaming there all the time, and I would love to see you there. Thanks again for watching the video. Don't forget that the key to success is succeeding, and we'll catch you guys next time on A Game for Your Thoughts.